The Basques' history in Boise is quite long, actually. They started immigrating in the late 1800s to the Boise area, to Idaho in general. But they came originally for gold and silver. They heard that they could make some money in places like Idaho City. So they started with that and weren't very successful. So very few came for that. But then they transitioned into work in agriculture. So we're working for sheep companies as sheep herders. And that big chunk of immigrants from the Basque country started coming in between 1900 and into the 1940s. And that was their big push over to the United States and Boise specifically. And they came over here to work there, find new opportunities, make some money, and hopefully return home with that money. But for most of them, they decided to stay here and flourish here in the communities that they established in. And so for Idaho, that meant places like the Basque Museum starting later on, and even before that, clubs and organizations, and even restaurants with Basque roots started popping up throughout the area. There were about 50 Basque boarding houses throughout the Boise area. Stereotypical in a lot of these boarding houses, one, they were someone's home turned into a boarding house, right? And so the largest space was usually the dining room, and in this case, the Ibarraga family had anywhere from, they had their family of 5 that lived here, 3 kids, and then the husband and wife, and as many as 15 other boarders staying at this house. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs and 1 downstairs, or 2 downstairs. The family stayed in the downstairs bedroom, and then all the boarders crammed into the other rooms, 2 and even sometimes 3 to a bed just to fit. And the Anduisas, they were more business people in that they wanted something that would keep the boarders or bring other boarders in to watch or to spend money here, essentially. Buy an extra meal or a drink or something here. And so they put a ball court or a fronton in the basement. This fronton was built in about 1914 for the Anduisas, and it's still used today. But it was built mostly for handball. So they're using a ball about the consistency, a little bit smaller than a baseball. And they're using their bare hands to hit that up against the wall. They're all versions of this other game called High Life, which is probably the most well-known of all of the sports, in which they use this basket and another very, very hard ball and throw that up to the front. Many restaurants that started that have a lot of interesting mixes of Basque and Basque American food, and then clubhouses to keep some of the culture, music, dancing going started popping up, like the Basque Center on the corner of 6th and Grove, just next door to us. And then places like the Basque Museum, the Basque dancers started in 1960 here in Boise, etc. And then that went on by generations later. We have people like Pete Santarusa, Secretary of State, Benny Sursa later was the Secretary of State, and several other prominent Idahoans and Boiseans that really made an impact. And some of it has to do with their strong roots to their Basque culture.